And we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. Welcome to this class. I know some of you are joining me in Zoom and some of you are joining me in Facebook. So yes, welcome. Just give me a few minutes as we get set up, and welcome. If you're joining in the group, let me know that you're live, or if you're watching the replay, let me know where you're live from, where you're coming from, or where you're watching the replay. And if you want to ask me any questions, you can either do that by putting in the comments in Facebook or in the chat box in Zoom, for those that are joining by Zoom. So we are at 3 o'clock, so we're going to get ready. And I want to make sure that I'm pretty sure everything's okay, the audio, the visual. So yes, it is. Brilliant. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be offering this wisdom sharing class. So in this class, I'm going to be sharing with you what is divine feminine energy and how distortion can sometimes be dressed up as divine. I feel like there's so much confusion about feminine energy, and I've seen some posts advising people on feminine energy, and for me, they're coming from quite a wounded feminine space. And the goddess movement has risen in volumes, which I think is amazing. But there are some aspects of the goddess movement that are actually pushing us into the same paradigm of distortion and disempowerment. So in this wisdom class, I'm going to be sharing, well, to define what is divine feminine and what is not. I'm then going to be sharing with you how to forge a relationship with the goddess within. And then I'm going to be sharing with you a very powerful shamanic practice to help you meet your inner goddess within. So that's what we're doing today. For those that don't know me very well, my name is Kelly. I am an activator of the divine feminine. This work started coming all through me a few years ago, and I've realized I've been sharing this wisdom for many, many lifetimes. And actually, the deeper I do this work myself, the more I'm recalling all of those multi-lifetime, multi-dimensional aspects of myself. And so I'm very much on the journey. I really help women connect to their inner divine feminine within, so they can birth their divine work out into the world, all the things that they've kept hidden, be able to really shine their light out into the world, and really to enjoy their success the feminine way, which is about grace and ease and being within the natural order of the universe, rather than trying to be in one paradigm of often distorted masculine, of trying to push and make it all happen. So before we get started, as always, I'm going to invite you to arrive on the call. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just taking some deep breaths. Just calling all of your energy back into your system. So it may be have been with your action list, with problems you've been sorting out, relationships you're working on. Whatever aspect of your energy is not in your body now, just call it up now. It's almost like you're just calling all your energy to be in your body. And as you're taking those deep breaths, you're just welcoming your energy home back to you, feeling your bum on the chair beneath you. And perhaps if you are sitting on a chair, you can almost invite your body just to lean back, to be held by the chair, supported. Just allowing yourself to be here in the present moment, as we all connect around the world, no matter where we are, no matter what time zone. Even if you're watching it later, there's an energetic circle that we are creating, that we're all part of. So just welcoming you all in now to this circle, to this feminine, divine feminine wisdom sharing class. And it's my sacred intention to share some wisdom that will trigger in you a deep remembering of your inner divine feminine and how you may embody her on an even deeper level. So just taking a deep physical breath, feeling the physical edges of your body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome everyone. Okay, let's get into this content then. So there's two parts of content and then this shamanic journey. So first of all, why focus on the feminine? That is a question I often get asked. Well, firstly, I want to say that these energies, masculine and feminine, are in union. They are inextricably linked to each other. They actually come together in a glorious outpouring of divine love to create. Creation is about these two forces coming together, making love to bring something in, to form. And so when you do something in one energy, it does affect the other. Now, this union can be in dissonance, meaning it can be distorted by one of the energies not being in its power and being equally valued, or both energies not being in its power and equally valued, which in turn creates a dissonance in the creation process. Or the union can be harmonious, dancing beautiful patterns of sacred geometry of creation together. So then when you focus on one energy, you actually are in fact working on the union of the two. Now, our current structure, our world system, including our political, educational, vocational, trade, social, health structures, have all been formed by a dominating force of distorted masculine, which has meant that the language we use, the way that we perceive the world, how we construct our realities have been mainly from this distorted masculine force. And this distorted masculine force has just forgotten who it is. And if you want to learn more about that, you can watch some of my other videos or take part in my other training, because I'll go on about this for 4 days. So this force, this distorted masculine force, has forgotten who it is, forgotten how it is part of creation. And so it has diminished the feminine force. So as a reminder, masculine energy is a projecting energy. It's an action, it's an outward force. And this is not about gender. Both genders have masculine and feminine energy. So masculine is a focused energy, a focused intention, an optical of light with a purpose. It's about doing, structuring, organizing. And it's beautiful and it's much needed. Feminine energy is the receiving, the holding energy. It's not about gender. We both have both energies. So feminine, divine feminine energy holds all of creation, all of the infinite possibilities and potential. It is therefore connected to all that is, connected to all that is. Every being, every sentient being is held and connected through the feminine energy. It's about presence, it's about connecting, it's about being and receiving, and it is really beautiful and so much needed as part of this divine creation. For many reasons, which maybe I'll share a little bit about, I wasn't going to, but I think I will. The feminine part of creation has been diminished by the masculine. And so in a way, the distorted masculine has tried to take over the creation process and use it for one person or a few people's own gain instead of the many. So you could say that this started to happen when some of the mystery schools started to crumble. You could say it started to happen when patriarchy started to rise, but there was a sudden, not sudden, it was gradual, as evolution is, but there was a power game started for land, for resources. And so the sacredness that the feminine mystery schools held, which is about creation, holding all creation, was destroyed and was taken over. Their sacred knowledge was taken to be used by the few and manipulated to serve their own power. So the feminine way of looking at the world has been sidelined in the feminine, in favor of the masculine view of logic and reason. And we have missed a whole octave of how to perceive the world, leading to a very narrow understanding of the cosmos, of the world, and of our part in it. And so this has meant that the divine feminine part of consciousness has not played an active part in the construction of our reality. The feminine flame was all but put out by the distorted masculine way of the world. And so the who, the what, the organization, the structure have forgotten the important why, which is what the feminine principle brings. As she is connected to all that is, she feels the all, she feels the one, and so she brings that into the creation process. And so the distorted masculine, losing this sacred knowledge and just using the creative part, started to be self-serving, focusing on the I, the me, the few who held the power. And so this created a whole set of consciousness where we've been cut off from who we truly are, our divinity, our sense of oneness, our connection to Mother Earth, our connection to humanity and all of life. And I think the saddest part of all those is really our connection to our own sense of sacredness and our own deep creative potential. And in its place came a deep sense of powerlessness, a deep sense of emptiness, a big void that we've been trying to fill up with stuff externally that never satisfies, a deep-seated fear of lack. There's not enough to go around. And it's true in a way. If it's held by the few, if all the resources are held by the few, then yeah, that is going to put everyone else into a severe survival, fight and flight, lack sense of mentality, a way of being. It's not just mentality. And so and so this is what has happened. And also, I want to say, an almost psychopathic consciousness. And I say psychopathic because I think the definition of a psychopath is someone with no empathy, but a kind of psychopathic structure of the world, which has a self inflated sense of I am presence, disconnected with everyone and everything, where there's no empathy, there's no connection to source. It's just me, me, and me. And so this is what happens when you start to be really cut off from your divine feminine. So this is why I focus on the feminine, about welcoming her back into our hearts and our souls, connecting with her wisdom, her piece of the pie, and really healing all the feminine wounds of being the outcast, being used and abused, and being forgotten for multi-generations and multi-lifetimes. When we do that, we can start to bring in a new wave, a new harmonic of union resonance, as it will affect the whole fabric of space-time, every octave from the single cell to galactic systems and more that we don't even understand, will feel this higher vibration of love, the union of love of the masculine and feminine, and everything that will be created in beauty and harmony and within the cosmic order. And that is why I focus on the feminine. So divine feminine then, as I said, it's the part of you that is connected to all that is. It holds the infinite potential, the unmanifest potential before it comes into focus. It is the connected to the most wisdom, wise, intuitive part of you, the one that can feel what is the highest vision that is true for you and true for all. And its main ways of being embodied is by being and receiving. So sounds wonderful, doesn't it? So how come it's become distorted then? And what is distortion? So the feminine principle, the divine feminine principle that's connected to all that is, that feels all that is, that has deep compassion and kindness, when she has been dishonored on every level of the cosmos and of society, maybe not every level, but a lot of levels, certainly in the world, when she has been dismissed from the temples, removed from the storybooks, the history books, her books have been burned, her temples have been burned down, her priestesses have been burned at the stake. Her way of expressing the world has been diminished, has been put down. Her way of being is being called lazy, emotional, whimsical, illogical. This is repetitive trauma. We're talking about trauma here. So, because if we did this to a child, if we took a child and any way that she tried to express the world, we said, no, that's not the right way, it's this way. Or if she said, what about the animals when, you know, we're burning down a forest, and that she was told, oh, be quiet, it's fine, we need progress and we need to grow. Or, you know, if we did this to a child, this is trauma. And so our inner and outer divine feminine principle has been traumatized, multi-lifetime, multi-generation. There's been no space for her as we have focused on a man-made world, a language, a structure, a way of perceiving the world, which is showing up now in terms of things like pay gap and Me Too and lots of other, you know, great initiatives that we are trying to bring this into balance. But essentially on a core shamanic level, when we experience trauma, we experience soul loss. And it's just like if you're in a physical accident, like a car accident that's super painful. When you're in a car accident or something really painful, often you don't feel it, you leave, you disassociate. And this is exactly what has happened with our feminine energy. She has not had a safe place to be, or in the very least, she's not been honored or recognized. And so she disassociates. And so what has happened is our beautiful feminine energy, this one that is connected to all that is and feels everything, is leaving. She's leaving us on a very core shamanic level and leaving. She's gone. And so a lot of people are talking about the rise of the feminine, and this is what I believe it is. It's calling back. So what happens then when your feminine energy leaves you, or indeed any energy? So instead of that divine feminine energy feeling her connection to all that is, feeling her inner abundance, feeling her infinite worth, feeling the amount of love that she is and that she has, feeling that inner fullness, instead of feeling all of that, she feels emptied and shattered by the experiences of being repeatedly traumatized. And so it's like all the energy has left, she's completely empty. And because we've lost so many of the traditional spiritual traditions, she feels desperate to be recognized and honored. And so she's lost how to do that internally. And so she goes externally to get those needs met, instead of knowing how to get them met from within, from source. And so how this shows up is it's like she feels this big emptiness, this big void, and she's trying to fill that up. All distorted feminine energy is actually from feeling emptied and shattered by life. So if we feel emptied and shattered by life on a very core level, of course we can't judge if we show any of the distorted feminine traits of jealousy, comparison, manipulation, all of these things we're going to go into. The core reason for that is because we've been shattered and traumatized by life, not just because we're horrible, mean girls. There's something that's happened to our energy that has created that distortion. And so the feminine then the energy starts to get distorted, and she starts to go externally to get this void, emptiness filled. And so what are the key sources of energy? One is masculine energy. And this is fueled so much by the industry. Meet your other half, your soulmate, the one and only, the one who completes you, all of these things. And so masculine energy, masculine attention is one of the key energy forms that the distorted feminine tries to fill herself with. And so that can end up in, not feeling there's enough men in the world, trying to be in competition, with other women, trying to get the man's attention rather than knowing that she is a divine embodiment of the goddess within. And that is so much more magnetically attractive than when you need energy, you're trying to feed, it's almost vampiric. And so then linked to that is a real focus on our external appearance, measuring our value and worth from how we look, what size and what shape and what way our body is, how youthful we are, because it's really focused on the maiden, isn't it? The nubile, young, fertile maiden. There isn't really much space for the mother or the crone in society right now. And so this feeds a whole entire industry and a whole society of trying to be a certain way or look a certain way or be a certain way. And so this is where the comparison and the jealousy and the envy starts to rise up. Because if we have a deep feeling of emptiness and we feel like there's not enough supply out there to fill our void, then of course it's only natural we're going to start to get into competitiveness and cattiness with other women, or at least jealousy. And so I'm not saying any of these things are bad. We always, women, we try and say, oh, I'm not jealous, I don't want to be jealous, or I'm not competitive. And I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying it's coming from trauma. So yeah, it is okay in a way. And the way to solve it is through solving the soul loss, rather than judging yourself for being jealous or saying that you're not and keeping it repressed. Other ways it can show up is kind of like addictions, but again, if we're trying to fill the void, often it's from external stuff. So it can be like addictions to food, to sex, to shopping, to money, to having a successful business or wealth or fame. All of these things we're trying to fill up our inner void in a way. So a lot of what our goals are, our deep goals, you may want to question, where are they coming from? Are they coming from a need to fill a void, or are they coming from this I love frequency, I would love to frequency? The thing is that all of these things, masculine energy being, externally measured as beautiful or pretty, or having lots of money or a successful business, or, being able to shop, all of these things are very short gratifying. And the kind of theme tune of the distorted feminine is it's never enough. And that's true, because all of these external things will never be enough for what it's substituting, which is your own light, your own love, and your own power. So that is what distorted energy is, and that is where it's coming from. And I've seen quite recently a lot of distorted energy dressed up as divine, and that's what I want to go into now. I'll open up for Q&A at the end, but if you've got questions, just put them in the chat box or in the comments, and then I will just have a look at them at the end. But thank you all for joining if you are making it live. Okay, so let's get into this juicy subject then of how the distorted is dressed up as divine. One of the ways I've seen quite a lot of posts about how the feminine should submit to the masculine, or submission of the feminine to the masculine. And this could sound divine, you know, submit to the masculine, let go, and he will carry you and take care of you and, you know, get close to you. Um, but I don't see it like this. For the thing that I said at the beginning, these energies are in union. There is no master or slave. There is no one above the other. They each have different qualities. And if we look at what the universe is made of, atoms, waves, particles, and consciousness underneath it that orchestrates it all, one particle, one atom cannot be superior to another. The creation matrix would be out of alignment. Two opposites collapse into each other to create light. There can not be one particle that is superior to the other, otherwise that would not happen. One doesn't submit to another. One is not master to another. They come together into union. And so this submission of the feminine to the masculine, that's not how I see it. I see it more like there is a symbiotic relationship of those, where the feminine connects to all that is and gets that highest vision, and then the masculine takes that and makes it happen, and then it goes back to the feminine to be received. This is how I see it. It's a more of a circular relationship rather than a master-slave relationship. And I think also we need to be so careful, because if you are submitting your feminine to the masculine, is that masculine in divine or distorted energies? Because if it's in distorted energies, then that is not a safe place for the feminine to submit to. Divine masculine, one who knows his job is to hold, to provide, to do, for the feminine, to be in service to each other rather than one overpowering the other. And then how I see it is this beautiful cosmic dance, this divine love of the feminine receiving. And so it's the nature of the divine masculine to be the provider at a very physical level, a level where he is giving and providing. And maybe that I'm talking about inner or in a relationship. And so when that happens, then the feminine is able to open up. And when she opens up to all of divinity, that unmanifest potential. So that's why it's such a wonder for a divine masculine, such an honor for a divine masculine to be in the presence of the divine feminine. That is what she is bringing. And so on a physical level, in a heterosexual relationship, the woman who opens up her womb to receive the man's sexual organs, and that activates a deep creative potential. And obviously the deepest creative potential in the physical form is the conception of a child. So that's one thing that I feel like distortion is dressed up in as divine, this submission. The second part is I've seen a lot about needing a king, that you need to be claimed, you need to be owned, and you need, you know, and until you are, you won't be happy, kind of thing. I've seen a lot of posts like that. And this for me is distorted, because this is again about energy exchange. You give me this and I'll give you that. It's like a bargaining chip. And that isn't from a space of I would love. That is a space from take care of me and then I'll give you all my juiciness. That isn't the way. When you are in a vertical relationship with yourself and with source, you start to connect to the infinite energy point where you are responsible for filling yourself up with love, light, and power. You feel full in yourself, radiant in yourself. And so this is a a vertical relationship. And so then when you get into relationship with another, you're coming at it from two vertical pillars of light coming together because you would love to co-create something, not that there's a horizontal energy exchange, codependency going on where you give me this and I'll give you that, and you give me this and I'll give you that. You know, I would invite you to ask yourself, what if you didn't need anything? What would happen if you didn't need anything from another, from a man, let's say if it's a heterosexual relationship? It would mean that you would show up as who you truly are. You would be seen for who you truly are. And that would mean that you can actually allow yourself to be unconditionally loved. There's no keeping up a pretense, trying to be a certain way so that you can get what you need from that person. You feel full of your own divine feminine presence, and you carry a radiance that emanates your worthiness, your amount of love that you carry, the amount of power that you carry, the way that you are at one with all that is, and that you have this tap going on, this infinite supply. And that is hugely magnetic. You go into a relationship with another because you would love to, not because you need to fulfill a need. There's no neediness in this energetic exchange. And so I want to say, when I'm talking about this, I'm not saying that we don't need connection, like we are human and social, and yes, we need connection. But I guess I'm questioning, where do those connections come from? And if it's about needing a king, I would suggest that that is a bit distorted because it's not recognizing the vertical pillar of light that you are, and that your own power that you have to self-source your love and your light from within. And that is really what I help my clients do through the heart and the womb space. And then thirdly, I need another sip of water. Thirdly, how is distortion dressed up as divine? I'm seeing it a lot in our spiritual lives, in the goddess priestess movement, in yoga. And I see not all, I want to say not all, there are some amazing teachers out there about the goddesses and about yoga. And so I'm not casting all of them, and I'm sure they wouldn't, do the same. And there's not everyone, but I'm seeing some posts about it. But where some of parts of this movement are actually projecting the same disempowerment of the distorted feminine, of trying to be beautiful, measuring your value by your external appearance. And so showing perfect bodies, pretty faces, focusing on the maiden aspect again, which is a very narrow definition of what the goddess is. And it's almost like we're trying to fulfill ourselves by being perfect. And a lot of it is actually playing dress up, to be honest. There's an underlying need to feel loved, to feel worthy, and to be accepted. And so it's about learning how to fill your cup of that, your cup of worthiness, your cup of love, your cup of acceptance, because then you can get into true vertical relationship, and you're not taking on external guides or personalities, as you're not putting them on pedestals as like gurus. You are not sidestepping yourself as the true source of source self. Again, we start outsourcing, if it's not to a vicar or a priest, it's to a priestess or to a goddess or to a yoga guru. And I want to say, what about you? What about the goddess within? We can sometimes put all of these external things on pedestals, and that's really missing from ourselves, how to source ourselves. And for me, in my courses, I always say this topic, distorted feminine, and clearing this up is a lifetime of practice, because we have had multi-generational, multi-lifetime experiences of the feminine being diminished and not honored. And so stepping into your true power and light, it takes embracing all of you, all aspects of you, both the light and the shadow. And some of the goddess movements are very much about love and light, and yeah, it's all amazing and it's beautiful and the feminine's coming back, but it's not honoring the full true feminine path. And the feminine path is about going into the shadows, going into the womb consciousness, into the black light of all that is, allowing all of the blocks to come up that are stopping you from being your full source self, to be reborn again. That is what the feminine does. She resurrects Isis. She resurrects Jesus. Mary Magdalene was there anointing Jesus and helping him. She found him in the tomb, helping him in this resurrection process. Isis with Isis, she went and collected his 14 parts that were scattered around Egypt to bring them back together again. This is the feminine path, going into all of our broken parts. Inanna as well, Ishtar, all of the stories there, all of the myths there, they're all saying the same story, which is go and find all of the parts of yourself and reconstruct yourself. And so the true feminine path is about going into this womb consciousness, this feminine consciousness, gathering that up and being reborn again. It is being reborn again into a new frequency when you do it through the womb space, because womb consciousness is connected to the cosmic consciousness. The cosmic womb, which brings all of creation into life. There is a great big nothingness out there, a great big void where matter can come in, light can come into being. This is what the Immaculate Conception is. We're talking about the cosmic story as well, where there was nothing in the primordial waters and then there was light. The feminine principle holds all of creation. And so honoring that, knowing that this is the true path of the goddess. It's the life cycle of honoring the maiden, the mother, and the crone. The crone is the wise woman, the part that has alchemized so much shadow into gold, the Death Eater, the Dakini, the Shadow Eater, the one that can transform all of that richness so that you can really start to embody who you truly are. And this path, the true feminine path, is about embodying it. So many on the spiritual path with goddesses and priestess movements have amazing spiritual experiences. They go off, they have visions, you know, they might see Isis, they might see Mary Magdalene, they might have amazing experiences, and then they go back to their life and it's just a complete mismatch. But truly embodying the goddess within is making it real in your life now. How would she think? How would she feel? How would she act? What needs to change? What conversations need to be had? What boundaries need to be put up? Embodying the goddess is a really serious path. It's not for the light-hearted, because she's going to show you all the ways in which you are not honoring her. And embodying her will call for change. It's really a complete collaboration of your entire frequency. But when you do that, you really get into a very deep power, a very strong light, and a very deep love for yourself and all of creation. So they are some of the ways that the goddess is really is dressed up as divine, as distorted. The divine is dressed up as distorted. So now I want to really talk about how you can start to forge a relationship with your inner goddess. And really, to honor the feminine, then, it's therefore about honoring it in ourselves. And the Dalai Lama said, the world will be saved by the Western woman. And I really feel the way of saving the world is first to really honor this, the divine feminine within each of us, because she is connected to all that is in the world. And that is what will start to awaken our feminine wisdom and step into those feminine leadership roles that this big change is calling for, so that we take care of the collective as well as the planet. It's going to take us going within and stepping into the feminine within. So how to embody your feminine then? Well, it's a path, as I said, and if you want to find out more about that, you can come and speak to me afterwards. It's a real path of healing all of the ways that you've been traumatized, where you've experienced abuse, where you've experienced dishonoring, and really calling and gathering all of your feminine energy back to you, clearing your ancestral line, patriarchy, slavery, sadness, trauma, rape, through the feminine line on both sides, so that you can be free to create your story. Clearing out distorted masculine relationships, because we hold distortion within our womb space from our relationships. So there's a real clearing there. And then about really honoring the sacred temple within, which is your womb space, which is where the divine feminine and the divine masculine really come together to unite and create a new vibration of creation in love. And finally, for Mystery School initiates, there is a deep dive to meet your inner wise woman, the goddess within. And this is what I want to share a little bit about today in this journey. So in a minute, I'm going to provide a shamanic journey to help you meet your goddess within. Now, these aren't just meditations. They're transmissions encoded with light frequencies that are extremely pure and powerful. And I've become the guardian of these feminine light frequencies, and there's more as well. I'm not saying I'm the only one, but they've been really shared with us to help clear and awaken our womb on a very deep level. Because when you do that, you start to really activate your inner divine feminine blueprint, which creates a deep remembering on a soul level on who you truly are, your inherent sacredness, the amount of love that you are, the amount of worthiness that you are, and you reconnect to the source of you. So with this journey, I'm going to guide you through it. I'm going to try and make it about 15 minutes long. Please don't do this journey if you're pregnant. And that's because I'm going to be taking us into the womb space. And if you have a precious life growing inside your womb, we don't want to be going in there and messing with light frequencies. So please don't do it if you're pregnant. Any other reason you can, if you don't have a womb, if you've had hysterectomies, that's fine, because we're working on the spiritual womb space. If you have disease or pain in your womb space, this is great because it's connecting. If you feel disconnected from your feminine essence and you don't really know what it is, this is great. So there's no other real reason why you can't do this, except if you're pregnant. So are you ready to go and do this practice then? I'm just going to make sure that I'm still live in the group. Sorry, I'm just checking. Yes, we are. Okay, so let's go and do this practice then. Oh. So closing your eyes and breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just allow your breath to come into your body, rushing up through your nostrils into your brain. And just notice how this breath is starting to come in like a liquid light. It's a liquid light. Just noticing the color of this light, the frequency. And if you can't see anything, just hold the intention that you are receiving your breath as a liquid light. And I'm going to start with the intention now, and I'm going to ask you to say this intention in your mind's eye in your own words. It's my sacred intention to connect and awaken my womb space and to meet my goddess within. Just breathing that intention into your body. out into your energy field and out into the universe. Just allowing this liquid light now connecting, coming in through your nose, up into your brain. And as it comes into your nose and up into your brain, it's going to start spiraling around like it's in a whirlpool, going around and round right into the center of your brain where your pineal gland lives. And it's starting to spiral around your pineal gland now, opening and awakening your pineal gland to an even deeper frequency. Keep breathing in this liquid light into your pineal gland. And it's going to come down now, down through the center of your face, to the top of your neck. And you can breathe or stretch or move if you want to help this liquid light move in any way, but just allowing this liquid light to start to flow down now from the top of your head, all the way down your throat. And it's like an elixir for your throat, a soothing elixir made especially for you, to help cleanse and clear your throat chakra of anything that needs to be said, any way where the goddess is trying to express through you. And this liquid light is going to keep going down your chest. It's like a warm liquid going over your chest and into your heart. Opening up your heart. And then it's like there's a spiral staircase going from your heart down. And this liquid light is going to cascade down this liquid staircase, or it could be like a slide, like a helter-skelter. And this liquid light is going to start to encircle and spiral now down from your heart, going through your diaphragm, just releasing any tension held around your diaphragm, any holding. And it's going to keep spiraling round down past your diaphragm, into your belly, into your abdomen, deeper and deeper now, all the way down. And it's going to start to come down into a room, a womb room. And it's coming into the top of the womb room. And as it does that, this light is starting to cascade down now. And it's like a fountain that's coming from the top of the room, enlightening this womb room. And just bring your awareness and your consciousness all the way down the liquid light into your womb. And if you wish, you can put your hands over your womb. Your womb is about 2 inches above your pubic bone. And she's the size of a pear if you're not menstruating. So just breathing into your womb space now. And finding yourself following this line of liquid light, this spiral, and arriving yourself inside your womb. And just taking a moment now to look around. How does it feel? What does it look like? When was the last time you were here? Just taking a moment now to feel your womb space, feel your womb room. And from the center of the room up spouts a fountain of liquid light. That's going to join and kiss this liquid light of consciousness that's come down from your pineal in your heart. You're going to ask now to see or perceive the goddess that lives in this womb room. Just ask her to step from behind the fountain and just receive her as she is. Noticing what she looks like, how she carries herself, what she's wearing. Allow yourself to fully see, receive, and perceive your inner goddess, your inner wise woman, the one who holds the keys, the one who holds all the answers, all the wisdom. And just see now, what messages does she have for you? What does she wish to share with you? Does she have a gift or a symbol that she wishes to share with you? Do you have any questions for her? Allowing yourself to be in her presence. Maybe there's no words to share, but just by being in her presence, she is transmitting so much to you. Allow yourself to receive. Let go of understanding. Bask in her infinite presence. Surrender to your divine feminine within. Allow yourself to be baptized in her waters. Give over all of your emotions, all of your intentions, all of your wishes, all of your desires, all of your heartbrokenness. Give it to her. Allow her to take it all from you. Just seeing now if there's any parting words or gestures that need to be exchanged. Knowing that you can come back to this place whenever you wish. Giving thanks to your goddess within, your inner wise woman. Embracing, if you wish, she dissolving into you, you into her. As you find yourself again in front of the fountain within this womb room, giving thanks to your womb for all that she holds. We're going to start to travel back up now, up the spiral staircase through that light. Coming up through the abdomen, into the belly. Feeling the physical edges of your belly. Up into the diaphragm. Breathing into the diaphragm. Into the heart. And the chest. Into the throat. Pineal gland in the center of your brain. Feeling your face, your eyes, your nose, your cheeks, your mouth. Feeling the physical edges of your body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Just taking a moment now to come back into the room. You may want to have a glass of water. You may want to take some notes. But just taking a few moments now to really make sure that you're fully back. And I'd love to hear how that was for you in the comments. A moment. Oh dear, trying to have a look in the group as well to see if there's any questions. So I'd love to hear in the comments, either if you're on Zoom or on Facebook, how that was for you, what you experienced, or if you have any questions. Yeah, trying. So I can't seem to look at Facebook without putting the video on. So yes, some questions are coming through, so I'm going to open those. So put your questions in, and also just let me know how that experience was for you. I'd love to hear. And I'm going to be checking the questions. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I've got a question here. Is the inner goddess the same as the higher self? I get asked this question a lot. Thank you to ask that. My feeling is not, no. The inner goddess for me is the aspect of feminine principle that's come through you for embodiment. And so each time you go in, you may see a different face because the goddess has 1,000 names and yet remains nameless. And so when we go in and meet the inner goddess within this womb room, we are meeting an aspect of the divine feminine without any intermediaries, without any interruption. It's a pure frequency of transmission. So I hope that answers your question. And if you have a follow-up question, that's fine. For some reason, I can't see the silly Facebook questions. I can see some now. It's not showing me all the questions. You know, when Facebook does that, it won't let me change it. So I've got some. So Judy, my goddess, looks like Guinevere from King Arthur. Beautiful. And the message is, I'm safe where I am. Kuan Yin, Whitney, that's beautiful. Ah, okay, yeah. Someone else is saying it was a beautiful. I actually saw different faces, including my higher self. It kept changing. Yes, that is why, because it's all of it's all aspects of her. And sometimes you may, when you go in, it may be one aspect and she is trying to communicate something for you. So I remember one of my clients kept having Cleopatra, and so Cleopatra is very much queen archetype. So it's about embodying your queen as a leader, as a center of power and influence. And then maybe you'll see another aspect. So Whitney, I'm thinking Kuan Yin, isn't she about compassion? I'm not sure, I have to look her up, but that's what I feel. That's really about compassion. So that might be compassion for self. Yes, so I can't see any other questions. So if you want to PM me, you can, or I can check it after we finished. So thank you so much for joining. I absolutely love doing it. So I'm going to be probably doing these more focused things rather than my shorter videos. So if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, let me know. You can send me a message. And I want to say thank you everyone for watching live or watching the replay. This is going to be saved in my Facebook group, and I'll probably put it on YouTube as well, because I know some people don't like Facebook, so it's there. Oh, someone else just put, she has a garment of jewels and she gave me a piece of diamond in your heart. And then, oh, beautiful. Wow, I love that. I love these visions. So then how can you embody that aspect within in your life would be my next part of that. Whatever she's bringing to you, what else can you bring? Okay, Naomi, I've seen your question. Sorry. The liquid light color changed throughout. Why is this? I would just trust that. Sometimes, you know, I see rainbow colors, sometimes it's one color. I really feel like the different frequencies of light carry different healings or transmissions. And I don't like to say blue is this, green is that, because I think it's personal. Okay, so So if you're seeing multi-color, for me, that's because you're able to receive multiple pieces of information. Now, Naomi, I know you've been doing this work with me for 6 months, so maybe that's why you're able to hold that much frequencies of lights, different colors. Thank you, Judy, for making it live. Thank you, Michelle. I'm sorry I can't see everyone else's comments. I will go and see them afterwards. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Beta. And sending you lots of love on this beautiful Friday, which is Day of Venus, Day of the Goddess. So it's the perfect day for us to gather. So just closing down this circle now. Thank you so much. And I will see you very soon. Lots of love.